Witajcie w HK Blurr, historyczno-kryminalnym podcaście, który odczarowuje znane postaci ze świata historii i kryminologii i usuwa z nich tytułowy blur, bardzo często stanowiący medialną dezinformację opartą na stereotypizacji, na przykład dotyczącej ich płci. A young leader from a small kingdom on the periphery of the Greek world became a legend as the creator of one of the greatest empires in history. His short but intense life was full of journeys, conquests, and great battles. That much we know. But who really was Alexander of Macedon, called the Great? A Greek, a Macedonian, a Slav? What was his sexual orientation? What did he look like? And how did he die? For years, debates have raged around the identity of this fascinating leader, carried on by archaeologists, politicians, and ordinary people, especially the inhabitants of modern Greece and North Macedonia. Alexander was born in 356 BCE in Pella, the capital of the ancient kingdom of Macedonia. The ruins of this city are located not far away from the modern city of Thessaloniki. Alexander was the son of King Philip II and Queen Olympias, who came from the distant and mountainous Epirus. In his youth, Alexander studied under one of the greatest minds of antiquity, perhaps of all history, Aristotle. The young Macedonian ascended the throne at the age of just 20. In just over a decade, he built a large and multicultural empire, stretching from Greece through Anatolia and Egypt, encompassing Mesopotamia and Persia, and reaching as far as modern India and Afghanistan. Among his most spectacular achievements was the defeat of the Persian Achaemenid dynasty and the conquest of their empire. He also crowned himself pharaoh, claiming to have liberated Egypt from Persian rule. Tolerance and multiculturalism, combined with religious and cultural syncretism, formed the basis of his vision of the world. Loyal subjects were rewarded, and their different customs protected. For rebels and opponents, however, he had no mercy. Alexander founded dozens of cities during his conquests, many named after himself. The most famous of these, Egyptian Alexandria, still thrives today. As a result of his conquests, Hellenistic culture spread its influence from the Nile Valley to the Indus Valley, forever reshaping the civilizational landscape of the Middle East. As a political entity, Alexander's empire proved short-lived. It disappeared with its creator. The Macedonian king, who had conquered so many lands and peoples, died in 323 BCE in Babylon, at the age of just 33 years old. The circumstances of his death are shrouded in mystery and inspire many hypotheses. Some suggest the king died from one of the following infectious diseases: malaria, typhoid fever, or West Nile fever. This is based on accounts describing his symptoms before death: high fever, chills, weakness, and abdominal pain. Others claim he was poisoned, either in a deliberate assassination or by accident. Another hypothesis points to a rare autoimmune disease. After Alexander's death, his vast empire fragmented. The kingdoms that arose were ruled by his close generals, the so-called Diadochi. They established their own dynasties, the most famous being the Seleucids, ruling from Antioch in Syria, the Lagids, commonly called the Ptolemies in Egypt, and the Antigonids in Macedonia itself. Alexander's body has never been found, so we cannot say for certain how tall he was, what his health was like, or what his genetic background was. Both ancient and modern culture depict him as tall, muscular, blonde, with long curly hair and piercing gaze and the appearance of a stereotypical hero. Was this true? Reportedly, he did have long hair, styled in the anastole, resembling a lion's mane. Without hard archaeological evidence, however, we remain in the realm of mystery. Relying on official ancient iconography can be misleading. Rulers, especially those with near-divine status like Alexander, were often idealized for propaganda purposes. Apart from the circumstances of his death and his appearance, two aspects of his identity spark particular modern controversy and interest: his ethnic origin and his sexuality. The first issue is decidedly political and is a part of a broader dispute between two modern European states, Greece, which includes the region of Aegean Macedonia, and North Macedonia. Each claims exclusive right to be the heir of Alexander the Great's legacy, and with it, the civilization of ancient Macedonians. The controversy is deepened by the fact that modern Macedonia is largely Slavic. Its capital, Skopje, is filled with monuments to the ancient king. Modern Macedonians argue that the ancient ones were regarded by Greeks as neo-barbarians, excluded from the civilized Greek world. Greeks counter that ancient Macedonia adopted Greek culture and spread its ideals worldwide. Moreover, the heart of Macedonia, including its capital Pella, lies within modern Greek borders. Genetic studies also suggest a closeness between the two ancient civilizations. Both modern nations have their arguments, and both want to claim the Virgina Sun, the symbol of Macedonia, as their own. And what about Alexander's orientation? Well, the answer is again complicated. First, it must be said that describing ancient sexuality using modern social categories is misleading. Most likely, the modern concept of sexual orientation, understood not only as attraction to a particular sex and engaging in sexual activity with them, but also as an identity, would not have made sense in ancient Greece or Macedonia. The ancients often separated sexual acts from social obligations, which always had to be fulfilled, such as marriage and producing heirs. Relationships between older and younger males also had a defined place in ancient Greek society. According to historical records, Alexander had wives, including Roxana, and children, but the most important person in his life was undoubtedly a man, Hephaestion. The intense nature of their bond raises suspicions that he was more than just a friend. Malicious tongues claim that Alexander's true love was his faithful horse, Bucephalus. Can we assume Alexander the Great was bisexual? By modern standards, quite possibly. In the eyes of the ancients, however, maintaining same-sex relationships while fulfilling social duties such as marriage, often arranged for political and dynastic reasons, was neither scandalous nor remarkable. Alexander continues to fascinate more than 2 millennia after his death. A young, charismatic king who conquered the world and might have loved both men and women. It is tempting to make him an icon of bisexuality. At the same time, his life and identity remain contentious. What nation wouldn't want to bask in the glory of his armor? The most important lesson we can probably draw from his biography is the futility of applying modern definitions of nationality, ethnicity, and sexuality to a world separated from us by thousands of years. Alexander's fame is so great that there is more than enough of it for everyone. Wysłuchaliście HK Blurr, historyczno-kryminalnego podcastu odczarowującego znane postaci podlegające dezinformacji. Podcast powstał w ramach międzynarodowego projektu współfinansowanego ze środków Unii Europejskiej.